For years, I called myself a podcast coach, and it wasn't wrong. I helped women build, launch, and grow their shows with strategy and clarity. But lately, I felt like that title doesn't fit anymore. Like it barely scratches the surface of what I really do and who I've become. And what I offer now is so much deeper than downloads and strategy. It's about voice, energy, alignment. It's about helping women stop performing and start reclaiming. Welcome back to the Voicekeeper podcast. I'm Caroline, and today's episode is a bit of a reintroduction, a chance to pull back the curtain and share the evolution behind the scenes. If you've been following me as Wild Home Podcasting or thinking of me as your go-to podcast coach, this might surprise you. But first, I want you to take a breath with me because this is a big episode and I really feel like we need to drop in to the right energy before we dive in. Hand on your heart. Strap into your body. Take a deep breath. What part of your visibility, your voice, your expression feels like it's growing or changing? And ask yourself, can you let that part be heard today? So it's time for a little truth telling. Labels are useful. They really are, until they start to feel like a box. And I have been in a season of breaking out of the boxes that I put myself in and that I felt like I needed to be in. You know, I'm not just here to help you with your podcast. I'm here to help you come home to your voice. And I'll be explaining a little bit more what that means to me and what it can mean for you over the next few episodes. But I want to explain the shift and why this is so important to me. This did not come out of nowhere. Over the past year, I have been on a profound, I cannot stress this enough, so profound spiritual journey. It's one that's really invited me to slow down, go inward, and get really honest about how I want to work and what I want to stand for. But I need to tell you a few stories so that this all makes sense. I don't know if any of you remember me talking about in February, I had a terrifying medical issue. I had what's called SVT, something ventricular tachycardia. You love how I don't even know what the word is. That's okay. We don't need to know what the word is. It was just awful. And they had to stop my heart 7 times. I am super healthy now. I had an ablation while I was in the hospital. I'm doing really well, but it definitely made me stop and think, lying in the crash room, having them stop my heart and everybody stand around in case I crashed really makes you put your life into perspective. And one thing I realized, not necessarily just in that moment, but in the moments that kind of followed, it's really interesting. I would not call it a near-death experience, but it was like really facing my mortality in a way that I haven't ever really faced. I have a very profound fear of death and dying. It's something that I'm working on simply because I lost my father when I was very young. I was a baby to violence. He was killed in an armed robbery. And so that has made me very aware of the fact that you could leave your house and die today. I have a different perspective on it than a lot of people. And, when this whole heart thing happened, I had done a lot of work to overcome a lot of the anxiety that I have around safety and my kids being safe and my husband being safe. And that all came crashing down. But instead of it being about them, which it has always been about them, it was about me. And it was like, oh my gosh, what if I actually did die tomorrow? And when you start to ask yourself that question, you start to really think about how you're spending your time and what you're doing and how you're showing up. And who you are and who you are claiming to be. So many things. I was already on a pretty profound spiritual journey, and this just like pushed it to the max. I would say that I have had a lot of epiphanies about myself and what I believe and the types of people I want to be associated with and all of those things. But it hit a lot harder. And one of the things that was really, really hard for me to come back to was work, honestly. After that whole heart thing, it was like editing podcasts, which I still love to edit podcasts, sorry. Editing podcasts, working on podcast strategies, it's felt like very surface level. And the thing about it is that's not at all what I do. So I have to tell one more story before I can get into this because I want you to understand the context of all of this so you understand where I'm going with this. The other thing that's been really huge in my life, my middle daughter has a chronic illness. She has mast cell activation syndrome, which I'm not going to go into all the details of what it is, but she spends the majority of her life feeling bad, basically. And we recently had a meeting with a holistic specialist because we have literally exhausted the medical world. Like, nobody can seem to help her. And the first thing she recommended, it was so fascinating. So I have been on a journey of like regulating my nervous system and figuring that out. And I already knew that like I wanted to pursue an education in some of that. I don't know what I want to do with it. I just think it's fascinating and I like learning about it. I've thought about going back to school to be a therapist. Like, there's a lot of things here. And when we were in that appointment with a holistic specialist, one of the things they said was, you know, in order for her cells to calm down, you really need to work on her nervous system regulation. And so we have been doing that. And oh my gosh, you guys, let me tell you, the transformation has been incredible. But not only that, I feel like it's brought us closer together because it's giving us something to do together. And so all of this combined, like, this is all a huge part of my life. All of these things, my spirituality, the modalities that I use, the way I live my life, and none of that has been showing up in my work. The other thing that has been really interesting during this whole time is I had the heart thing happened, and shortly thereafter, I saw a TikTok that said, dress in a way that would make your 15-year-old self proud. And let me tell you, my 15-year-old self would not be happy with what was going on. My 15-year-old self was, she was a little bit of a goth. She was really into vampires and she wanted to stand out and be different and be unique. And she was. And somewhere along the way, I became very afraid of being myself. And that has seeped into my business in a way that has made owning a business not so fun for me, to be honest. Because every day I feel like I'm showing up and I'm trying to be somebody I'm not. I'm being performative. I'm afraid of what people will think. And let me tell you, there is nothing like having your heart stopped 7 times for you to go, F that. Like, I'm tired of living this way. I want to live for me. And so that brings me to today and the shifts that are happening in my business. So I'm actually right now working on getting certified in both meditation, being able to teach meditation, and spiritual coaching. And the reason being is because I believe visibility work isn't just strategy, it's healing. I have done a lot of work on my throat chakra and finding my voice and showing up. And it has been so impactful on my life. And so I want to hold space for both the strategy part and the healing part. Okay, so let's dive into what this is going to look like. So the first thing I want to talk about is, why the surface level felt incomplete. And this really is like the transformation of going from like just strategy to more soul aligned work. So it's been really interesting because over the last year, the clients I have worked with, they really wanted more than just strategy. Inevitably, I was supporting them with energy, their expression, alignment, their confidence. This feeling of being like, I'm so burned out, but I want to create content, but I don't know how to show up as myself in my content right now because I'm so burned out. This is the kind of stuff I have been coaching people through. So while podcast has definitely been the container for that, it's become something so much more. And honestly, I feel so much more alive in those spaces, in those conversations, in those moments. I feel called to do that work. And that's really when like I realized that podcasting was a portal for something deeper. And I know that for me, it's definitely been a portal for something deeper. I talk a lot about how I found myself and I found my voice through podcasting. And that's no lie. Like, that is an absolute truth. When I started podcasting, I could barely get in front of a microphone without sweating and being so nervous. Because again, I have been silenced my entire life. Like, I have been told to be quiet, and not like I have somebody standing around telling me to be quiet. There's a lot of places where this push to not be who I am has been coming from. A lot of external sources, a lot of internal sources. We'll probably dig into this a little bit more at some point, but I mean, that's like getting to some really surface, like personal work that I have been doing for like 20 years, working through this stuff. And podcasting really gave me a place to feel like I could find my confidence in my voice. And so I still believe that podcasting is a super valuable portal, but I definitely think the work that I have been doing has been a lot deeper. So this led me to come up with, well, not really come up with, there is a framework that I have been working with people for a long time. And I did do an episode on this recently. It was called the Voicekeeper Framework. And I actually like putting a name to it and writing it down and putting a symbol to it has been so impactful to me, and just how like I want everything to work together. So the Voicekeeper work that I really do now is helping burned out women, business owners, reconnect with their voice. Inevitably, when we've been in business for a really long time, we tend to lose ourselves because the world demands so much performative content from us. And I have seen this time and time again. A lot of times when people come to me to work on their podcast, they're ready to make a shift. They're ready to move into a place of like full authentication of who they are and their message. And it's because they're just so tired. I guide them through visibility healing. So, like, what does it mean to show up? And why is that so hard for you? What's going on that makes that so difficult? And then the strategies that I have been helping people build is really rooted in resonance and not roles. And this is the thing that I really want people to understand. Like, there is no magical strategy to having a successful podcast. There are a lot of strategies out there. And the thing that I have become so exhausted of doing is creating strategy and people expecting a miracle when, if your messaging is not in alignment, that strategy is not going to do anything for you. And so when we work on that strategy, it's really built around like, what is going to help you show up better? What is going to be sustainable for you? What is going to feel good for you? And what is also still going to help you shine and share your voice and just be resonant, right? And then the other thing that I am working on now is blending spiritual tools with business clarity. I said I'm working on that now, but like I'm already doing it. So one of the things that I am doing is bringing in, I mentioned that I'm actually training on how to teach meditations. And it's funny because it's something that has seeped into my work anyways. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I always make you guys do an energy drop-in with me before we record a podcast episode. And I started that because I really wanted people to listen to my episodes and feel like they were coming home in a way, like, oh, we're going to sit, we're going to have tea, we're going to sit on the floor cross-legged, and we're going to talk about podcasting. Like, that's the vibe I want to give. We're going to light some incense, we're going to have a candle, like all of that is part of just my everyday life and what I do. Like, I wake up in the morning, I light incense, I meditate. So like, why would I not bring that into the work that I do. The thing is, too, is in like starting to share your voice and starting to work through those blocks, let me tell you, one of the biggest things that has helped me is doing meditation around my throat chakra and then getting Reiki healing and figuring out that like I need to connect my throat to my heart chakra and doing meditations on that. It has made such an impact in my life. Like I cannot even tell you. And so I want that to be a part of the work that I do with you as well. So like if you come to me and you're open to it, I'm gonna work on a meditation for you. We're gonna drop in, we're gonna do some humming, but we're also gonna work on a strategy and how that's going to help you show up in a way that truly feels like you. So in the new pathway, I am still supporting podcasters, but I'm also supporting just business owners, women who are wanting to reconnect with their voice. Everything I offer is now going to flow through the Voicekeeper Framework: awaken, reclaim, embody, visibility as reclamation, right? But not performance. Like, I do not want to ever make somebody feel like they have to podcast in a certain way to be successful, because that is not what it's about. So if you've been feeling the shift too, if your old strategies don't feel like they fit anymore and you're craving a way of showing up that feels aligned, soul-led, and actually sustainable, let's talk. I have a new offer called the Voicekeeper Sessions. This is a 60-minute call that you do with me, and this is where we dive into this work together. It's spiritual, it's strategic, and it's always, always grounded in your voice. So you can head to carolinehull.com/awaken. BT dubs. I guess I should have said somewhere on this episode that Wild Home Podcasting, I am letting go of Wild Home Podcasting, the name, and rebranding everything to be me, Caroline, because the work that I do is about me. It's from me. It's about you. It's sacred. And Wild Home Podcasting came from a different space in my journey. It was from when I had an agency and I basically was trying to take my name off the door. That way I could let other people do the work. And I've entered a new era where it is all about, working with me, and I am doing all of the work. And so it just made a lot of sense to do that. And I'm so excited. So if you do go to wildhomepodcasting.com, it'll redirect you to carolinehull.com. But now everything is going to be under my name. So again, if you're interested in those Voicekeeper Awakening sessions, head to carolinehull.com/awaken. And to close, I just want to say, like, you do not have to fit in the box anymore. You don't have to perform to be seen. You get to lead with your voice, and your voice, hello, it gets to change. So thank you for being with me in this new chapter. I'm so grateful you're here. Be sure to listen to the outro because it has changed and it has a little special free meditation that you can access. But yeah, I'm really excited for this new phase of my life. I am so, so grateful to still be here with you all every day. And it is like through that like sense of I'm here, I survived, I'm alive, that I want to do work that is so meaningful and really helps you take the next steps into stepping into who you fully are in your work and in your business. And if that is you, I would love to work with you. I would love to help you rediscover your voice. All right. I'm not a podcast coach anymore, and I will be back next episode.